Before we started, I just want to I haven't talked to you guys since Monday, since before the game, and certainly I think that what we all witnessed Monday night was it was a sad deal. It was very traumatic, and it kind of puts what we do into perspective, and how that supersedes anything in life is just these players' health and safety, and everybody's health and safety, and that was tough to watch, obviously, and our thoughts and prayers are with Damar and his family and the Buffalo Bills, and just addressed it with the team this morning, and it was very, very quiet in there, and I know that something that's been on our guys' minds quite a bit, and I think it's tough for these guys to compartmentalize and understand that you're thinking about that, you're trying to get ready for a game, and but I did just catch that it sounds like the news is more encouraging, so we're all hopeful that it continues to trend that way, and if Flea had a chance to talk to our guys as well, and kind of give them just how many people are there to support in case of an emergency on game day, and it sounds like everything is as good as it possibly could have in that situation, just in terms of all the medical professionals, and it's so important that we do have everybody there to help somebody in that situation, and it's also encouraging to see the amount of support that he's received and that everybody is given to him, his family. I think it's pretty remarkable when you talk about the fund that was started and where that is. Last I knew, it was over $6 million. I just think that's pretty incredible to see people kind of rally around that, and him and his family in this tough time.
Now, have you made mental health resources available to the guys?
Absolutely, yeah. We always have. We've got Dr. Carr in-house, and then we've got resources outside of the building. We're going to have a little session post-practice for anybody that would like to attend, and just to talk about it. And we opened it up in our meeting room, and again, it was very quiet. I mean, that's something that these guys take very seriously, as they should. It was just I've never witnessed anything quite like that, and I did have an opportunity. I reached out to Sean McDermott right afterwards, and just sent him a text. But I've talked to Zach Taylor, and it was a traumatic deal.
Have you sensed in the meeting, has there been any reluctance about playing this game this week, and maybe any thought about seeing if there's a way to push things back, or?
I've had a couple coaches ask, and I mean, I really don't have any. It's whatever the league decides, and I do think that the league decided, obviously, the correct decision the other night to postpone or cancel the game, and it would just be hard, I think, for anybody involved, whether you're for the Buffalo Bills, Cincinnati Bengals, to get your mind in another place after seeing something like that. I can't imagine what they were going through.
Did any players have anything to say in the meeting, and what was your message to them?
Well, I just, tried to speak from my heart in terms of just how serious, obviously, it was, how tough it was to watch. You knew something was not right with the amount of time that it took to, get him into an ambulance, and how often do you ever see an ambulance on the field? So it just, like I said, it definitely supersedes the importance of any type of game. I mean, you're talking about life.
What is the challenge? I mean, assuming y'all are playing this week as scheduled, what's the challenge? I mean, I imagine it's something you've never had to go through in terms of preparing for a team, preparing for a game, and having being able to I know y'all have to compartmentalize things a lot, but how difficult is it in this particular instance?
Yeah, no, it's not easy, but you know, you got to do the best job you can. And I think the thing about it is, I think every team's dealing with this right now. I mean, we all are. So, and it speaks to the brotherhood of this team or this league and how important these guys are to one another and the compassion that we have for one another. But it's, I mean, anytime you go out there and you go to compete, and we play a contact sport, and so that's unfortunately an inherent risk, although you don't see it. I mean, I've never seen it in my lifetime. It just kind of shows you like just the risks that are involved potentially.
Were you watching the game Monday? If not, how did it come about?
You know, I was not but I heard somebody in the office say something, so I flipped it on, and that's when everything was out there. So, you know, I did catch a replay of the hit, and I mean, it was a pretty physical hit. So, you know, anytime, I'm obviously not a medical expert in terms of, but I asked Flea a lot of questions about how could something like that happen. He just explained like the timing of it, and you see it more in, I want to say in youth sports of stuff like this happening, which is obviously a tragedy in itself.
Is there anything else?
Is there anything different you'll do with practice today, or just have it as normal?
We are going to jog through. That's what we had planned for in the first place. But yeah, so that's the route we're going to go. I just think just coming off a physical game, and you know, this point of the season, a lot of the Wednesdays are like that, anyways, above the neck days, and just allow our guys a little bit more time to recover, and then we'll get back on a more normal routine tomorrow, and you know, just handle it the best we can.
You hoping Christian and Keyshawn will be able to take part before the week's out?
Yeah, I believe they will be. I think they'll be out there today, as a matter of fact. And you know, we came out of the game, I think, pretty clean.
Did Bakhtiari feel pretty good afterwards?
Yeah, I believe so. I hadn't directly talked to him about it, but you know, he seemed like he was in pretty good spirits today, and I thought, you know, throughout the game, the one thing that you saw from our team, I thought, was you saw a lot of excitement, a lot of juice and enthusiasm, and you know, I think he was a big part of that. I noticed him after. I don't know if you guys saw this or not, but after Keyshawn's return, did you see what David did? Oh, well, he was down there. He grabbed somebody's camera and was acting like he was the photographer. So it was a pretty cool moment.
Just since you've turned the page here, how big of an advantage is the field this time of year? And I know maybe it's just been the Vikings fans, but there's been a lot of grumbling from their side over slipping and sliding on Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, we have to play on the same field, so
Like the advantage of you knowing the field conditions and all that.
Probably. I mean, I'm sure. Yeah, there is. You always have an advantage when you're at home. Just no different than when we have to go somewhere else and play. I mean, it's advantage home team typically. So, you know, I think you just got to deal with it the best you can, and you know, I don't know.
Last time y'all saw the Lions, they were really struggling up until that game. When you look at their tape of them the last month or so, what's the big difference that's now enabled them to kind of turn the season around the way they have?
I think any time that you're a team that maybe in their past haven't had a ton of success, you have to learn how to win, and I think they've done that, and that's what makes them so dangerous. And I think with every win, there comes a little bit more confidence, a little bit more belief that no matter what the circumstances are, that you're going to be able to fight through it, and you become calloused. And I think that's what they've done. I think Dan's done an outstanding job with the other coaches and their players of instilling a mindset and a mentality that they're going to go out there and they're going to compete and they're going to give you everything they can. And they've got a lot of good players. I think that's evident. They got one of the top offenses in the league. They got a defense that is flying around, opportunistic. I don't care what the numbers say. I think they've improved. Obviously, they held us the first game to 9 points with some key turnovers in that game. So, and then you look at their special teams units, it's one of the tops in the league. So this is a very dangerous football team that is capable of beating anybody in this league.
I know we've asked you about Jamal, since he's been over there, but I mean, he's almost a 1,000-yard rusher. He leads the league in touchdowns. You just got to be kind of really happy for how that situation worked out for him.
Yeah, no, Jamal's a guy that it's tough to root against, although I'll find it in my body to do that on Sunday. But he is a guy, he's just, I mean, this is a people business, first and foremost. And you develop relationships with these guys, and just to see how he would work and treat his teammates on a daily basis. And I've talked about the culture that has been instilled in that running back room by Ben Sermons and just getting the right kind of guys in there. I still find myself like smiling when I see him doing one of his dances, after scoring a touchdown or whatever. I just would like to see them either, just in the pregame. He can do it in the pregame, and hopefully we can hold him down. But he is a tough, gritty competitor, and he kind of, to me, he's a little bit of, the epitome of what they're all about. They got a lot of tough, gritty guys, and he's a guy that I think is severely underrated, a severely underrated back in this league in terms of the versatility he brings, because we know he can run the ball. He can pass pro as good as anybody. He can catch the ball out of the backfield, and then he can go and play anything on special teams. So I hold him in high regard.
Matt, what do you think it says about the kind of complimentary ball you guys are playing this last month, that Aaron hasn't really had to play hero ball in any of these wins, and he still won all the games?
Yeah, I think that I don't know about hero ball. I don't use those types of terms, but I think it's just everybody going out there doing their job, and I think he's made a lot of unbelievable throws throughout the course of these last 4 games, and then just the way he operates and gets us into the right place is, I don't think you can really place a value on that, because that is something that's so imperative to every team out there in terms of, you just talk about if you can get in the right play, the probability of that play having success is exponentially higher than if you have bad plays, like that safety blitz that we ran into the other day. But I do think that our team as a whole, we've gotten timely turnovers. Just going back to last week, obviously sudden change situations, how our defense has responded, gotten a huge boost from our teams. Obviously Keyshawn's been a big catalyst to that, but I think all in all, just the physicality that our guys have been playing with, and we know we got an NFC North opponent coming in here that prides themselves on that style of play, and I think it's going to be imperative for us. And typically, a lot of times in these situations, the teams that's the most physical will win the game.
The last time you guys played Detroit, it was before Christian Watson had his breakout game, his emergence. Do you see them defending you guys differently this time around with him in this current capacity?
Potentially. I mean, I think that if you look at it again, they held us to 9 points. So I'm sure going into every game, there's always adjustments that are being made, but in how they treat him, I think we'll find out. But it's right now it's just a guessing game.
Do you think he's affected your ability to run the ball, like he's positively affected your ability, not just by the number of guys in the box, but some of the motions and things that you've been able to do with?
100%. I think all those guys, and that's one thing that we really stress to that room in particular is just, you see them out there lead blocking, and they're a very, very physical group. And that is, I can't tell you how important that is to the efficiency of our offense. Just guys getting, whether it's digging out safeties, whether it's staying on corners, whether it's cracking linebackers or defensive ends. But all those guys have bought into that team mentality, that all-11 mentality, and they've done an outstanding job. And I think, you got to give Vrabel a ton of credit. We don't have too many mistakes in that room, and there is a decent amount of young guys that are playing in that room. But certainly Christian is one of those guys that just brings a level of physicality to that position that you don't always see.